Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Ball Podcast. Jersey Joe Archino back here again. One of my many duties is the beat reporter for the New York Giants for 104.5, the Team ESPN Radio Albany. And so I've been with the team all season. I've covered every single home game. So I think as of today, Black Monday, as it's commonly referred to, as most coaches get the axe. A lot of people were wondering about what the future of Tom Coughlin would be. Yesterday, I went to his press conference and he kind of said what a lot of people probably thought. There are no reports. Nothing has been decided. He wouldn't comment on his future. But I think a lot of people expected that he would probably step down or he would resign, and that is exactly what happened today. You knew he was never, ever going to be publicly fired. He is as important a part of the Giants organization and their history as anybody that they have ever had, and I never for a second saw it ending badly. Coughlin is as class and as well-spoken and well thought of as an individual as there isn't or ever will be in professional sports. I think it really, if you have to talk about it all, I mean, when I had to do my video report at the end of the game, that's the only point. I didn't really give a rip about that game. Look, they lost. It was a tough season. It was a season defined by missed opportunities, not being able to finish football games. But yesterday was about Tom Coughlin. Yesterday was about a guy who has been there for 12 seasons at the helm. And I think that's one of the biggest things is you look at the NFL today, how many guys are in one place for 12 seasons. It's something that is unheard of, and you see the outpouring from players today, Justin Tuck, Steve Weatherford, guys like that pouring their hearts out about what this guy meant to them. And with Coughlin, it's not just what he did on the football field. You're seeing from all these guys, it's what he meant to them as men, how he taught them to be men off the football field. Justin Tuck said that's the thing that he takes away more than anything was he taught him how to be a better man. He taught him how to be a father. Steve Weatherford, the same thing. He taught me how to be a man. Tom Coughlin is as special as they come. I talked to Justin Pugh after the game yesterday, and he said, look, I love the man. He's the guy who gave me an opportunity in the NFL. He didn't just teach me about football. He's a guy who taught me a whole lot about life, and one day when I look back on it, I'm going to say I played for Tom Coughlin, a Hall of Famer. And there's no question about it. When I left the press box yesterday to go home for the final time this season, I stopped at the front because at the front of the Giants press box, there's a picture of Tom Coughlin. And I just kind of stood there and you just kind of admire it for a second because this is a special, special man, not just as a football coach, but what he meant and the impacts that he made on players' lives. Sometimes things go a little bit above and beyond the calling of playing in the National Football League. And this is a guy who just wore his work ethic. The standard that he set is something that just doesn't come around. He is one of the rare, classic, all-timers that just don't come around very often. And his presence is going to be very difficult to miss. Look, the future was uncertain for this New York Giants team. It never was all on Tom Coughlin. The Giants have the worst ranked, 32nd ranked total defense in the National Football League. Their problems go far and beyond above him. Execution is a huge part of it. But I think sometimes you do need some new lifeblood. But this was never a Tom Coughlin thing. I think this is the right decision to make. If he was going to come back, I wouldn't have had a problem with it as well, but I think Coughlin is very aware of himself. He's as aware as they come, and he did what he thought he had to do, and I think he made the right decision resigning. Look, 12 seasons, he's got 11 grandchildren, a 12th on the way. He's just going to ride out into the sunset, hang out with his grandkids, and look back at the unforgettable legacy that he left behind. But being at his press conferences all season for ESPN Radio Albany, being there, having to be there and listen to every single word that he said. There are some times in life where you're just in front of a person and you can just kind of tell this is a special individual. This is an individual where the gravity, the weight, and just the meaning of their words just means and has so much value. And there was no question that the first home game of the season against the Atlanta Falcons, when I was in the back set up with my camera to film the press conference and Tom Coughlin came to the podium for the first time, you get that kind of little shaking and chilling down your spine, because you know that's a special man who just came to the podium there and talked to the media. Now, sometimes, look, there was a lot of difficulties this season. I really think after the loss to the Jets, I could really tell on Coughlin that it just was wearing him down. This season really, really took a toll on him. And I mean, understandably so. It's got to be so frustrating when you've been so close in so many of these games. I mean, if you take away the last 90 seconds of how many of these games, the Giants season is just flipped dramatically. So I think that alone put so much weight and so much pressure on him. But I think at the end of the day, this Giants season shouldn't be defined by the 6-10 team. This is the final hurrah for one of the most legendary coaches ever to coach in the National Football League. And I think it all goes back to, it's not just what he did as a coach leading the Giants to 2 Super Bowls. It's the impact that he made on these players' lives away from the game as well. And I mean, look, in my lifetime, there's no question he delivered the greatest upset in sports history. There's no question about it. How many people ever would have given that Giants team a chance? I mean, I remember coming home from a Yankee game and watching them play the Redskins. If you had told me that they would have won the Super Bowl that year, I would have never, ever in a million years, ever given you a chance there. It's the same thing with the second Super Bowl they won. I was at the Giants-Seahawks game that season. It's the same thing. If you had told me the Giants were going to go to the Super Bowl and win it after they'd lost that game to the Seahawks the way that they did, would have never, ever for a second bought into it. But that's what Coach Coughlin did, and I think that's as much a message as to who he is as anything. And even with the difficulties that they had, the players never would give up on him. I have never come across one player who ever had the utmost profound respect for Tom Coughlin. Even a small name player like Will Tye, who really came on at the later half of the season, a young player who might have some potential in the NFL, had nothing but praise and said, look, this is a guy who's taught me a lot. And I think that's the thing that is the mark of a great coach and a great man. Somebody who has a tremendous amount of knowledge and somebody who uses that knowledge and shares that knowledge. And there's no question Tom Coughlin has acquired a tremendous amount of knowledge, and he shared that to his players, not just about life, but about sports. And I think at the end of the day, it was going to be emotional. It really was. I got the message after a little bit of lunch, and I was getting ready to come on the air for ESPN Radio Albany, and just everything kind of changed, because I think for the most part, if I had to describe how Coughlin was at his press conference, I would say he seemed at peace. He really did. I thought after the Jets game, that was probably the most frazzled I'd seen him all year. That really, you could tell there was a toll on him after that one. But this game, it just kind of seemed like, he was relaxed. He was at peace. I was waiting near Hakeem Nick's locker, and he came out from the back, and, he was just kind of walking, doing his thing, and I just kind of could looked at him, and I said, that's a guy who's at peace right now. That's a guy who kind of is looking at what he's done, and he could be proud. And there's no question about it. He delivered probably the 2 greatest Super Bowl upsets maybe in our lifetime. Definitely one that will never be replicated, the magnitude and the meaning of that win. But I think for Coach Coughlin, everything that he's done for this organization, everything that he's meant to the New York Giants, to the players that he's had, it just goes above and beyond. Its meaning is so profound, and I think for me, covering the Giants this season has been the highlight of my career so far. And I knew after the first game, when I was waiting in that press conference room after they lost to the Atlanta Falcons, when Tom Coughlin spoke, everybody in the room listened, and you could just tell this is a special man, and he truly is. But until next time, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Ball Podcast. You can check out all of my Giants reports on 104.5 The Team, the webpage, on the 104.5 The Team YouTube page, on the North Avenue Nation YouTube page, on my YouTube page, Joe Archino. It's all up there. Hope you check it out, and we will see you folks next time.